Welcome back to the ultimate checklist for better photos. This is episode 7 of 12, and today we're talking about one of the most powerful and most underused creative tools you have available as a photographer: perspective. Most people take photos from eye level, not because it's the best option, but because it's easy. And here's the truth: some of the most interesting photos are the ones taken from a viewpoint no one else bothered to try. Today, I want to get you off autopilot. I want you to start using camera height and viewpoint intentionally to add meaning, emotion, and impact to your images. By the end of this video, you'll never look at where you stand in the same way again. Perspective is not just about where you stand. It's about how the viewer feels when they look at your photo. The moment you change your camera height or position, you change the entire psychology of the image. You change how big or small a subject feels, how important or insignificant it appears, how close or removed the viewer feels, and how much emotion the image carries. And this is why perspective is so powerful. It operates quietly, but it shapes everything. A really useful way to think about perspective is this: perspective is the difference between describing a scene and inviting someone into it. And we're all conditioned by real life. Looking up at something makes it feel dominant, important, or impressive. Looking down on something makes it feel smaller, quieter, or more observed. Photography can lean into that or ignore it. Snapshots ignore it. Intentional photography used it to good advantage. And if you can stick around to the end, I'll share one simple idea that'll transform how you see. Let's be honest, eye level is our default. Not because it's always the best, but because it requires the least effort. You don't have to think. You don't have to move. You just raise the camera and press the button. Perhaps it's even a bit lazy. And sometimes, yes, absolutely, eye level is exactly the right choice. But here's the issue: if every picture you take is from the same height, they all start to feel the same. This is why so many photos feel flat, predictable, or strangely unmemorable. Not because the subject is boring, because the viewpoint is unquestioned. Shooting everything from eye level is like reading a story where every sentence has the same rhythm. It's not wrong as such, but it quickly becomes dull. Perspective is your punctuation. It creates emphasis, pause, and variation. So let's start by getting down low. A low angle, sometimes called a worm's eye view, is when you shoot from below the subject looking up. This does something very specific to the viewer. It makes the subject feel stronger, more confident, more important, and more dominant in the frame. This is why low angles are often used for heroic portraits, architecture and structures, and street photography with attitude. You don't need to lie flat on the floor, although you can, of course, and I've seen it done, and I've done it. Even dropping the camera to waist height, knee height, or just below chest level can shift the power dynamic. The key question to ask is, do I want this subject to feel strong or authoritative? If the answer is yes, a lower viewpoint can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Now let's go the other way. A high angle looking down on your subject changes the story completely. It can make a subject feel smaller, more fragile, more vulnerable, or simply observed rather than engaged with, if that makes sense. High angles are fantastic for storytelling, showing context, revealing patterns and shapes, creating a sense of separation or distance. From above, you stop seeing objects and start seeing shapes. Stairs, roads, shadows, people, and objects start to form graphic patterns. This is why high angles can feel very design-led and visually strong, and I think it's one of the reasons that drone photography is so popular. One of the most powerful uses of perspective is matching the camera height to the subject's experience. For example, photographing children from an adult eye level often feels distant, like you're overpowering them. But if you drop down to their height, everything changes. Suddenly the world feels bigger, the story feels more authentic, and the photo feels a lot more connected. And with babies and young children, this is where you do lie on the floor to really get into their world. The same goes for pets, people seated or working, or any subject lower or higher than you. So ask yourself, where is their eye level? Then start there. It's a really simple thing to do, but it makes a massive difference. And this is worth repeating. Camera height is emotional language. A low angle is confident, powerful, and heroic. A high angle is smaller, quieter, more observed. Eye level is neutral, documentary, honest. And none of these choices are right or wrong. The question is, what do I want the viewer to feel? And once you ask that question, perspective becomes a decision, not an accident or an afterthought. Perspective is not only about height, it's also about how close or how far you are from the subject. Getting closer feels more intimate, reduces distractions, and strengthens connection. Stepping back adds context, shows environment, and tells a bigger story. Combining distance with camera height is where things get really interesting. So try low and close, high and far, and low and far. Each combination tells a different story, and by experimenting, you'll find out what works best for you in any given situation. So definitely give it a try. Let me know if you do. I read and respond to every comment. So if you're up for it, this is one of the most effective exercises you can do to train your eye. Pick one subject, and it could be anything at all, literally anything you'd like. Then take 5 photos, one from eye level, one from low down, one from high above, one from very close, and one from further back. Don't change the subject, don't change the light, only change your position. When you review the images, ask yourself, which feels most engaging? Which feels most intentional? Which viewpoint tells the best story? This exercise teaches you that you always have options, even when the subject doesn't change. So why not give it a go and let me know how you get on? And if you do want to share your work, our Photography Foundations community over on School is a great place to do it. Friendly feedback, no judgment, and lots of learning. And once you start thinking about perspective before you shoot, you've taken a huge step. You're no longer just reacting, you're anticipating. And that leads us perfectly into the next skill, visualization. Seeing a photo in your mind before you press the shutter, which is exactly what we're covering next time. So let's quickly sum up these thoughts about perspective. Most people shoot from eye level by default. Changing camera height changes emotion. Low angles add power and presence. High angles add context and vulnerability. Distance is part of perspective too. One subject can produce umpteen different photos. So here's the big idea I want you to take away from all this. Good photography is not always about finding a better subject. It's about finding a better viewpoint. So if you ever feel stuck, bored, or unsure of what to shoot next, don't change the lens, don't change cameras, just change where you're standing. A simple way to remember this is to build a habit. Before you press the shutter, ask yourself, is this the first place I stood or the best place? That one question alone will transform how you see. In episode 8, we're building on this and talking about visualization, how to see the photo in your mind before you ever press the button. And if you've missed any of this series, I'll link the playlist in the description for you. If this video helped, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to grab your copy of the 3 essential pillars of good photography. Link in the description and completely free when you sign up for the newsletter. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.